Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel ABAP Seniors. In today's video, we will be discussing about the events in the classical reporting. So let us go to the slide. So these are the main events which will be used in our classical reporting. Initialization, at selection screen, start of selection, end of selection, top of page and end of page. So the first event is the initialization. So before going to initialization, I just wanted to add up one thing here. Like in the previous versions of our SAP, we will be having a one event called as load of program. That event used to trigger at that will be the starting event which will be triggered in your program at that time. That event is used to load the program into the memory. But in the current releases or the newer versions of the SAP, we don't need to bother about that event because the program will be automatically loaded into the memory and there is nothing to do with that event and doesn't make sense if you are using that event still now. So coming to initialization, this is the first step or the event which will be executed or activated in the traditional reporting, and this will be enabled even before your selection screen appears. If you remember, while writing your code, you will write some piece of code and will execute your program. At that time, your selection screen will be appeared, and after inputting some values, your main output will be displayed. But if you see at the user or as a visualizing area, your selection screen will be appeared. But even before that selection screen is visualized to us, in the background or in the runtime, this event will be triggered. So this event we can make use of for clearing the attributes, or we can set some default values using this initialization event. So let us go back to the system and see how the initialization event we have to make use of in our programming. Let me create one simple report program for understanding the events in our classical reporting. So now I'm creating a program which is named as report events. So I will declare one variable lvdef value type I, and I'm declaring our event which is initialization, and I'm initializing that to 4. So whenever the program is executed, if you try to access the value of this variable, it will be always 4. But if you do some modifications, it will be altered. But during the entire program, it will be always 4. And if you want to perform any modifications, it will allow you to perform calculations and modifications like that. But it will be initialized to the value whichever we have written in our initialization variable. So let me write it so that you will be getting it. So now I am trying to write the value, so it will be displaying in the output screen. So the 4 value we have got for that write statement, so it will be assigned with the 4, that variable. So this is the one way you can use, and you can clear the variables. Generally While writing the code in the real time, we will be mostly making use of initialization event for clearing the variables or clearing the work areas or whatever it may be. We will be clearing all the attributes in our initialization event. Let us go back to the PPT and understand about the other events. So initialization event is done at selection screen. So the next event which will be triggered is the at selection screen. So this event will validate the user input before executing the program, and it will be active once the user has entered some values. So if you once the selection screen is displayed and if you are entering some values, at that time this event will be triggered. And we have some other sub events of at selection screen. I have listed some of them. All the things I think I have missed maybe one or two. At selection screen output we have help request, value request, exit command, and on field also we have. So these are the at selection screen sub events. I have noted down few of them. And this is the last event which will be raised in the selection screen. Like I will explain you this event in detail. So if you understand about these events, then it will be easy for you to understand the purpose of this event. So at selection screen output. So at selection screen output, what does this event do and when will it trigger means? So if you know the concept of radio buttons, like if you are hiding some fields based on the radio button selection, you will be knowing the purpose of this at selection screen output event. So in using that event only, we will be writing the code for that. That means you will be altering the selection screen even before it is displaying to the user. So this at selection screen will be the final event which will be processed, like selection screen will be displayed to us, and after inputting some values this event will be triggered. But before that, even before displaying the selection screen, you can alter the selection screen based on this event. So at that time this event will be triggered. And help request. So if you are doing any F1 on your fields in the selection screen, at that time on help request will be triggered. And value request. If you have some F4 help for your selection screen fields, at that time you can hit this event which is called as on value request. And if you are doing any back, cancel or exit uh, operations on your selection screen, at that time at selection screen on exit command will be triggered. So now I think you will be able to understand and differentiate the events. Like these are the sub events, but we have to make sure which event we have to call, like when we have to write the code under which event. Those things we should be very careful, because if you write one event and you will be writing some other code means it is doesn't make sense, and the program will behave like abnormal. So you have to make sure that the events are in the correct manner. Now let us understand the at selection screen event at the program level. So I will be declaring one parameter p underscore vbln type vbln, and one more parameter which is rd type. I think that field is AUVRT, I believe. And let me comment this right statement, and I will be writing at selection screen. This is our second event in our classical report programming. Let me activate this one. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, it can be up to 8 characters. I have entered more than 8 characters, so that why. Now let me execute this program. I have now two parameters in my selection screen. So at selection screen, I will write some code. If p underscore ord type is initial, I will display some message input some value type in. Or I can write this in some other way like low and high. Low and high means if you write a select option, I will show you that also. Let me declare one select option is underscore AUDAT type AUDAT. Sorry, it is not type, it is for AUDAT, and let me execute this program. Okay, I have not activated. Okay, something is. Let me go to the VBAK table and see the type for that AUDAT. Okay, that is AUDAT only. So let me declare tables statement here, and now I will activate this one. Okay, I will here mention it as VBAK AUDAT so that it will recognize the field now, and I'm executing this one. So this is the low value for your select option, and this is the high value, and this will be the low value. So you can make it as low is initial, then you are displaying some error. Let me execute this one. Now what I will do is I will just zero, or I will give and execute. See, you are getting some error. Input some values. Let me show this in debugging mode for you. I will put one breakpoint here. Okay, if you observe here, now our selection screen is not at all displayed, but our initialization statement is coming because it will be triggered at the starting, and even before our selection screen is appearing, it is displaying to us. and now our selection screen will be triggered. So its selection screen event is not at all triggered now. So now what I do is something I will input and I will, okay, I think we don't have breakpoint there. Now we don't have a breakpoint. Now I will remove this breakpoint because we have seen the initialization statement before our selection screen is getting executed. So let me execute it directly. Now we can see the selection screen, and now it is coming into the debugging mode. So our AUDAT low value is initial. That means we don't have any value. So obviously it will be displaying the error message. Input some values. Let me execute it again. Now it is low and I will enter some value 2205/2025. Okay, it has only 8 characters, so you should not give the slashes, and it is not initial now. So it is coming to the next statement and it is going to the another statements. High value is initial. You have not entered anything for high. Only low you have entered. You can alter the data in the debugging, but it is not the good way. But if you want to do some analysis or something like experimental or practical things, you can do. So this is how the selection screen event will behave. So we have talked about initialization and at selection screen events in today's video. So we will be discussing about the next events in our next video. Please do like, share and subscribe to this channel for more interesting videos and happy learning. And if you feel like you are stuck or if you want any topic or anything, you can please do comment below so that I will try to do that particular video in my future videos.